Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Don Lemon Show. Good evening to you. The reason our guest is up right away is because we want to get as much of Rick Wilson as possible. Rick, I know that you and I on these particular issues often have very similar stances and ideas and opinions and views. On this one, it is, I'll save my ire because I used so many F-bombs this morning. I think that my audience is probably, it is outrageous. And
luckily, I am the national reservoir. I'm the strategic reserve of F-bombs for the country.
It just keeps getting worse. Welcome, Rick Wilson. By the way, congratulations on your new marriage. Very happy for you, newlywed.
Thank you very much. It was
Rick,
delightful.
As you saw what happened this weekend, and then the response from the administration as it unfolds, were you as outraged and angry as I was and am?
Don, I've tried to teach myself over the last decade that as low as they go, they can always go lower. But the fact that this wasn't even a video that was there wasn't even a shadow of a doubt. He did not have a gun in his hand. They mobbed him, pepper sprayed him, knocked him down, took the gun that was legally being carried in his holster, in his trousers, and then shot him 8 times in the back, and then sat there, instead of giving him CPR, counted the bullet holes and high-fived each other and thought, "This is hey, we're heroes." And this administration that immediately rolls out domestic terrorist. Everything we know about Alex Pretti has made it even harder to take that this was a good man, that this was a man who did good work in his community, that was protecting someone when this occurred. And it's both, I was both enraged and heartbroken by this story. And we have to look at it in the eye and call it what it is. This is a public execution. This is a public execution by American secret police. And there's nothing this administration can do right now to make up for this at all, except take every one of these people out of every American city. They're not about immigration anymore. They're about abusing and killing American citizens.
Yep. That's what they're about. And I don't know what the answer is, Rick, because does the state, if the state has any recourse, but the number of federal agents outnumber the local police force. They are even, look at this. This is ridiculous. You can see that they attacked this man. He was not the aggressor here. There's so many angles of this video, but they outnumber the police force. They're blocking them from investigating this. They're blocking them from even getting close to the scene. This is, I'm going to end badly. Sadly, it's going to get worse. And I don't want that to happen, but Rick, it is going to get worse. And what happens, I said, God forbid, what happens if there is one of these goons and they get killed? That is going to, it's going to be turmoil.
Don, I wrote a piece yesterday evening, sort of imagining what happens when ICE fires into a crowd for the first time. It kills more than one person at a time. When they move from killing retail to killing wholesale, and if they do that, I think this country is at that point kind of lost. I think we're in a civil war at that point. I think that these people in the Trump administration want it. I think they want that level of violence against Americans because they want to scare people. They want to control people. And even today, you've got people in the White House, Insurrection Act. Now, that's probably Stephen Miller off the record, but none of this is America. This is not the rule of law. This is not the Constitution. This is not civil rights or civil liberties. This is a mad, angry bunch of men who have been sent there with no training, no discipline, and no values to assault and attack American citizens. And if Chuck Schumer doesn't stop this damn CR this week, then ICE is going to get $75 billion more to do more of this to us.
Oh boy. Speaking of Stephen Miller, Stephen Miller was addressed at the White House briefing this afternoon. Caroline Levitt, I'm sorry, I hate to do this to you. I'm going to play a Caroline Levitt set.
Caroline.
I'm sorry to you, Rick, and I'm sorry to the audience.
Things
Things what?
The things I do.
I know. Stephen Miller has, won't say if Stephen Miller has apologized to the Pretti family for calling him a domestic terrorist and among other things. Here it is.
Caroline, on Stephen Miller's comments, will Stephen Miller be apologising to the family of Alex Pretti for calling him, quotes, an assassin who tried to murder federal agents, despite the fact that, as you say, this is still under investigation?
Look, again, this incident remains under investigation, and nobody here at the White House, including the President of the United States, wants to see Americans hurt or killed and losing their lives in American streets. And we mourn for the parents. As a mother myself, of course, I cannot imagine the loss of life, especially losing one's child. And that same empathy from the President goes for the parents of angel families, parents of victims of illegal alien crime across our country as well. And that's exactly why the President continues to be wholeheartedly committed to deporting the worst of the worst criminals from our country.
This woman is the worst. She didn't answer the question. She is fucking out of her mind. And why did no one challenge her in that moment to say, answer the goddamn question?
John, your guess is as good as mine, brother, because I watch these White House press briefings. I'm like, okay, and the obvious follow-on question from whatever reporter is always left on the table. She gets up, she lies her ass off, and 99% of the time, the reporters are then like, does the president plan to go golfing this weekend? What the fuck? This is, asking if Stephen Miller or Kristi Noem will apologize to the family of Alex Pretti is a fundamental question. They both lied and defamed him. And the only upnote of this is both Miller and Noem and a lot of other people around this administration. I really hope the Pretti family gets a defamation lawyer and takes them to the goddamn cleaners, because this is a civil matter. This is defamation. They are not protected by their White House job. They are not pardonable by Donald Trump. And calling someone a domestic terrorist, that's a clearly, utterly defamatory statement. And in both of these cases, in both the Pretti case and the Good case, these are people who have been publicly executed by Donald Trump's forces. They were not terrorists. They were victims of state-sanctioned murder.
So Stephen Miller called the man an assassin.
Yeah.
Kristi Noem called him a domestic terrorist.
Mm-hmm.
Caroline Levitt was asked about that, dodged again. Here it is.
Regarding Minnesota, on Saturday, the Department of Homeland Security posted that Pretti looks like he wanted to do maximum damage and massacre law enforcement. Stephen Miller on Saturday posted that, or called Pretti a would-be assassin. Why did administration officials jump to conclusions before an investigation had even been conducted?
Well, look, this has obviously been a very fluid and fast-moving situation throughout the weekend. As for President Trump, whom I speak for, he has said that he wants to let the investigation continue and let the facts lead in this case.
You got Kash Patel also making accusations on this. You've got an entire administration giving its marching orders, because every day they put out talking points to all their little MAGA influencer minions. And they have an opposition research firm. I have been told this reliably by someone in that orbit. They've got an oppo firm digging into Alex Pretti's life to find something that they can attack him on. And I'm sorry, that administration, they have no empathy, and they have no mercy, and they have no sense of honor or dignity.
Wait, hang on one second. Something. The administration has hired an oppo firm?
Yeah, it's being paid for by the RNC, but I've been told by a Republican.
Sorry to cut you off. Okay.
I've been told by a Republican source that there's an oppo firm digging into this guy right now. And
what the
this is how soulless they are, Don. This is how soulless they are. This is how shitty these people are. They're the worst human beings in the world. And it's, I lost Don, but I'll keep talking. They are the worst human beings in the world. And they take pride in the gaslighting. They take pride in the lying. They take pride in all of their bullshit of inverting all the values they used to say that they believed in. Oh, we're First Amendment absolutists, except when you want to criticize ICE and Trump. Oh, we're Second Amendment absolutists, except when you're legally carrying a handgun. And not using it, not brandishing it, not pointing it, not waving it around, not saying, hey, I got a gun, I'll kill you. just possessing it legally. They think that the Constitution's like a fucking Chinese menu. They can pick the ones they want and the ones they don't want. That ain't how it works.
Why this whole I know trust me, I had to calm myself down all day, actually all weekend after this happened, just listening to Kristi Noem and did you see that Greg Bavino interview with Dana Bash yesterday?
Oh yeah,
outrageous,
unbelievable.
So is this because now they're calling someone who had the right to carry the Second Amendment supposedly to them is sacrosanct.
Correct.
So are they saying that all people who are carrying legally, are they domestic terrorists? It seems
all
like
critics
that's what they're saying.
All critics of Trump and ICE are domestic terrorists if they carry a weapon or drive a car. And I've been living under death threats for a decade now. I carry. I have a concealed carry. Well, Florida used to have a concealed carry. I used to have it. They don't need one. You don't need one anymore in Florida. But I'm trained. I put more rounds down range at the range every year than most of these ICE agents will in their lives. And the thought of the fact that they would presume that someone who's a critic of theirs, who's carrying a gun legally under the Second Amendment and state law, is automatically a terrorist. I mean, if that's the kind of presumption they're going to make, then every ICE agent should be automatically considered a murderer. So they don't believe in any of it, though. All of it is there's two tracks for them. There are supporters who have all the rights and critics who have none. Then what is Kyle Rittenhouse then? Kyle Rittenhouse is a national hero of the highest order. He is a bold avenger of justice, or whatever the fuck it is this week. He's a creepy little weirdo.
Watch this, and then we'll talk more.
As he left the scene that night, was Rittenhouse a trigger-happy far-right teenager? Or just a patriot trying to stop mob violence?
With an AR-15 strapped to his shoulder.
Hey, dude right here just shot them!
Even at the time when we were in Kenosha after the shooting, Rittenhouse was dividing opinion.
I say free Kyle.
Free Kyle, yeah.
Free Kyle Rittenhouse.
It was illegal, though. He was criminal.
No, he wasn't.
He was a patriot.
He was running for the patriot.
That man is a patriot, and he's a hero, and he's going to be exonerated.
His defenders said he had every right to open fire.
Kyle Rittenhouse is the hero of Kenosha.
That argument continues tonight, as the uncle of Jacob Blake spoke to reporters.
We deserve the respect of this country. We deserve to walk the streets of this country. We deserve to march and rally peacefully without having our supporters murdered in the streets.
Although a small crowd is gathered outside the courthouse, there is no sign of any further trouble in the town. But what this case has highlighted is the polarizing role of vigilantes and militias in American life.
Who exactly are you? I'm an American.
Emboldened in the Trump years, as we saw for ourselves in multiple states, the verdict today will be seen by them as a vindication of their right to carry weapons on the streets of American cities and to interpret self-defense in broad terms.
The reason I wanted that to play out is Kyle Rittenhouse had an AR-15 strapped to his chest.
Right.
He killed 2 people. He shot 3 and killed 2.
Correct.
And was exonerated. And they're saying, did you hear when, Scott Bessent was on this weekend and said, who carries a gun to a protest? Did you see all of those?
Oh, I saw the whole thing.
In the video?
And Scott Bessent is, to my mind, the thirstiest mofo in this administration, trying to like always be in the cool kid table. But to get back to Rittenhouse for a second, and to get back to these 3%ers and Oath Keepers and all those guys who show up at public protests strapped all the time, carrying their AR-15s, carrying their sidearms, wearing their body armor, wearing their masks, all that stuff. When they showed up inside the State House in Michigan, they were heroic people, even though some of them were later found out that they were going to try to kidnap the governor. They're called heroic. When those 3%ers and Oath Keepers are out there with guns, they're called heroic. When Rittenhouse is in the street, and look, that was not self-defense. He provoked it. They provoked it. If you're out there, if I walk out in the street and I'm like waving a gun around and other people are, see that's a provocation. That's an attractive nuisance. I'm all for self-defense. You draw on me and it's going to, I'm going to do my best to defend myself. But in this case of Kyle Rittenhouse and in the case of these people, the provocation that they're allowed to do, they're allowed to bring entire formations of armed people to events under the Second Amendment and under the law, as long as they're peaceful and lawful. But Alex Pretti, who has got a permit to carry it, does not remove the gun, does not put his hand on the gun, does not threaten to use the gun, is pepper sprayed, beaten, clubbed over the head. Then one of the ICE agents takes his firearm away from his holster, and then they shoot him 8 times in the back. That is a public execution by the state. And it is, I told my conservative friends, you used to always be afraid of overpowerful state, the government being too powerful. If the government can shoot you 8 times in the back in the street and the president's entire administration laughs it off and defends it, you don't live in a free country.
The hypocrisy of it for me, that's why I had to show that Rittenhouse, to show them, because they're all saying he was armed, he should not have had a gun there. And it's like, what about these goons who were standing on public streets with their guns openly, openly defying law enforcement and saying that they were going to kill protesters? And Kyle Rittenhouse gets away with it. But the other gentleman, who is really a gentleman, loses his life. Loses his life.
Look, if the Second Amendment only applies to friends of Trump and fans of Trump, you don't have a Second Amendment. If the First Amendment only applies to friends of Trump and fans of Trump, you don't have a First Amendment. And I keep joking about this, but to my count, they have violated the First, the Second, the Fourth, the Fifth, the Sixth, the 10th, and the 14th Amendments just in the last few days in Minneapolis. I'm shocked that Trump hasn't violated the Third Amendment by making people quarter troops in their homes. It is madness how much abuse they're willing to level on the people of this city in the name of either whatever it is this week, whether it's Somali fraud or illegal aliens or criminals, whatever it is. But they sure seem to have their most aggressive and horrible behavior towards Americans who are critics of the administration.
Amen to that, brother. Also, I want to talk to you about, I want to play this. This is from, where is it, Andy? The people who are talking about what happened during Obama. Can you roll that one for me, please, sir? Thank you.
You want the Obama clip itself or some of the protest?
No. The people who are talking about it on, I think it was Newsmax or something like that, about them not, people not protesting. Yeah, there we go. That's it, Andy. Or it's on Fox.
And one last point, Martha. I don't remember these protests when Barack Obama deported 3 million people from America. And I looked it up. The Pew Research Center found the majority of the people that Barack Obama deported had no criminal records other than immigration violations.
But
so
also,
there were no
Mark,
protests.
most of those were at the border,
nobody shutting down the government.
Mark, those were at the border. Primarily, they were at the border.
Not all at the border. But not all. But the point is, the left was not attacking Barack Obama. They were not shutting down the government. They were not cutting funding for DHS. This is only because Donald Trump is doing it. Yeah. And Donald Trump had a mandate to do what he's doing because he was elected on this. 90% of Americans want everybty with a criminal record deported. So Mark, if we can focus on that, that's
I mean, even President Trump has said that he wants a full investigation of this. The tone, is very different than it was after the Renee Good situation, which, seemed to be different in a lot of ways. So you can sense that the White House feels that this is something that they need to make some changes in, regardless of all of the good reasons that you're pointing out.
Okay, that drives me crazy. But can I just show you some video? Just show me the video, Andy, of the protests. Now, this was, I believe, 2013 or 14. And these are protests for Obama. And these weren't from some right-wing radicals, right? These were from all different political stripes about the deportation, mainly, I probably mainly liberal, I don't know, but immigrants, they were upset with Barack Obama. Now, these are protests. They're saying it didn't happen under Barack Obama. And see that? Stop deportation, President Barack Obama. Fox News knows that. They could roll that video and show them. And they could also roll this contentious video that Barack Obama had, this moment that people point to about Barack Obama's diplomacy and how he can handle incitement in a crowd like nobody else. This moment was over immigration. Now, I want everyone to pay attention to this. Here it is.
And most importantly, we will live up. Most importantly, we will live up. Most importantly, we will live up to our character as a nation.
I need your help. There are thousands of
That's exactly what we're talking about. Yeah.
Every single day.
That's why we're here.
President, please use your executive order to halt deportations for all 11.5 undocumented immigrants in this country right now. We agree that we need to pass comprehensive immigration reform. At the same time, you have a power to stop deportation for all undocumented
Actually, I don't. And that's why we're here.
I need your help.
Okay.
Stop deportation.
Thank you. All right. What I'd like to do. No, don't worry about it, guys. Okay, let me finish. Let me. How about these guys don't need to go. Let me finish. No. He can stay there. Let me. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. So, I respect the passion of these young people because they feel deeply about the concerns for their families. Now, what you need to know when I'm speaking as President of the United States and I come to this community is that if, in fact, I could solve all these problems without passing laws in Congress, then I would do so. But we're also a nation of laws. That's part of our tradition. And so the easy way out is to try to yell and pretend like I can do something by violating our laws. And what I'm proposing is the harder path, which is to use our democratic processes to achieve the same goal that you want to achieve. But it won't be as easy as just shouting. It requires us lobbying and getting it done. So
that's good enough. But so what he is saying is that he doesn't, basically what I'm hearing, whether you agree with Barack Obama's immigration policy or not, what I'm hearing is that I just can't do things that are unconstitutional. I'm not going to break norms and the rules and go into cities, and I'm not going to defy elected officials and usurp their power and usurp the power of the people who elected them to be there. That's what I'm hearing, and that's exactly what Trump is doing. And Donald Trump could never do anything like that. Barack Obama.
Listen, that was a moment of grace, and it was a moment where you see this once in a while in our politics. When John McCain was asked if Barack Obama was a Muslim, and he said, "No, he's not. He's a family man. He loves his kids. He loves his wife. He's not a Muslim. He's an American." All this, and you saw Barack Obama doing that just then, where he said, "I have to follow the law. The rule of law matters." And that's one of the fundamental underpinnings of all this stuff with ICE is they don't believe that the law matters. They believe that Trump's approval of what they're doing matters. They believe that Trump's desire for power matters, and they're going to do what they need to do to make him happy. They don't care about the law. They don't care about look. I talk to Americans from both sides of the political aisle, Don, all the time. And I go back now, and there are a lot of people who I talk to a lot of ex-Republicans who look back at Obama and go, he was a small c conservative about the role of the president. He wasn't abusing executive power. I talk to Democrats who are like, George Bush wasn't a completely heartless bastard about immigration. He wanted to make sure that these people on immigration had a welcome in America. All these things that go back and forth now. Trump is so evil and so dark, and he's controlled by people like Stephen Miller, who are even more evil and more dark. And I got to tell you, Don, the thing that I'm like, all this outrage the last couple of days is everybody's exactly right to feel angry and pissed off and furious. Man, I did a video the other night. I think I said fuck like 45 times in it. I was so mad. And you're right, folks, to feel this sense of outrage. But until our media starts to feel a sense of outrage and not play the games with the press briefing every day of letting them get away with it, until our business community, like Tim Cook at Apple and all these other executives who are at the Melania movie trailer while ICE is killing people in the streets like it's nothing, until we start as a whole society to say, all of this is unacceptable, all of this must change, all of these people must go, it really has to be, I mean, we have only ourselves to blame if we let this continue. And again, that's why I keep mentioning, call your congressman, call your senator, call Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer says he won't vote for the ICE bill. He needs to whip his caucus to not vote for the ICE bill. That's the secret sauce. And if he doesn't really care about it.
You think so?
Right.
Hold that thought.
Yeah.
Hold that thought. And as I understand, we have a little bit more time with
you.
Yeah,
we got about 10, 15 more minutes. Yeah.
You're gracious. Thank you. I just need 2 minutes because I got to get a word in from our sponsors.
Do it. Yeah.
And then I've got Michael Gold on the other side of this, and we're all going to talk. Here's a word from our sponsors. Support for the Don Lemon Show comes from Lean. Now, everybody's talking about weight loss injections right now. And yes, the results can be dramatic. They lower blood sugar and suppress appetite. But a lot of people say the same thing to me. I don't want weekly injections. I don't want harsh side effects. I just want something that helps. Well, that's where Lean comes in. Lean is a doctor-created weight loss supplement designed for people with real weight to lose, not 5 pounds, 10 pounds, or more, right? It's the studied ingredients in Lean help lower blood sugar. They help your body burn fat by converting it into energy, and they help curb cravings so that you're not battling hunger all day. This isn't a shortcut. You still eat better. You still move your body. Lean helps your body cooperate instead of working against you. So you can get 20% off of your and free rush shipping, by the way. So go to takelean.com and then use the promo code LEMON. It's TAKELEAN.com. Use the code LEMON. We are sponsored today by Incogni. Now, I decided to run a test a while ago, and I wanted to see how much of my personal information was just floating around online because I'd heard so much about it. So I looked it up, and I was stunned. My name, my address, phone numbers, associations, all sitting on websites that I'd never heard of and never signed up for. That's when I signed up for Incogni. Incogni targets data brokers that collect and sell your personal information without your consent. Once I connected it, they showed me just how many sites had my data. It was eye-opening. Then Incogni did the work for me. They contacted those sites. They demanded removal, followed up, and handled the pushback. So I didn't really have to spend my time chasing down shady websites. So watching that list shrink was well worth the subscription. Protect your privacy. Go to incogni.com/Don Lemon and use the code Don Lemon for 60% off. That's Incogni, INCOGNI.com/Don Lemon. All right. Thank you to our sponsors. Welcome back. So Rick Wilson is a veteran political strategist, best-selling author, and the co-founder of the Lincoln Project and a friend of this show. Also, Michael Gold is joining me. He's a congressional reporter for the New York Times, and he's going to discuss all things political with us as it relates to this. Okay. Michael, thanks for joining. I want to get you in and I want to discuss what is the mood in Washington, because Rick is hearing that Republicans or even Republican, I guess it's pollsters or whatever, that Republicans are sort of in a panic about this. They don't know how to respond, and they think that the president needs to be pulled back on this issue. What are you hearing?
I think there's a sense that Republicans in Congress are very worried about how this might affect them in November. You're seeing a lot of people who would usually be silent when it comes to the Trump administration's immigration policy, saying they need independent investigations. I think perhaps the most striking thing I heard this weekend was James Comer, who's the chairman of the Oversight Committee, saying that he thought it was time to get ICE out of Minneapolis. And Comer, not usually a guy to break from the administration. You have someone like Andrew Garbarino, who's the chair of the Homeland Security Committee in the House, who is usually in lockstep with the administration. He's also saying that he wants a hearing on this. So I think you're starting to see Republicans get a little worried that the optics of this are not good. Obviously, they don't like what happened. But I think where they were hesitant to be critical in the aftermath of the shooting of Renee Good, this incident seems to have sparked a lot more criticism and a lot more concern. And I think the question in Washington, as always, is how long that carries forward, and we'll have to see. But I think you have a lot of House members very aware that they're going to have to answer for this at some point when they come back to Washington.
So let me ask you about, because he is now pulling Bovino, I believe, out of Minnesota, and Kristi Noem. They're sending in, at least maybe she won't be the face of it anymore, and they're sending in Mr. Holman to do it. And there is a sense that Donald Trump realizes, and look, I'm not in Washington, you can tell me, that the messengers that he has there are not carrying the message and not doing the proper job. And there's frustration with Kristi Noem, perhaps with Pam Bondi and the folks who are on the ground. And that's why he's changing who is on the ground now. Is that correct? Is that a fair assessment?
I think there was a feeling that something had to change. Something needed to be done. That this incident is awful. I think the videos of this one are very shocking, even, and perhaps as much, if not more, than the shooting of Renee Good, which I think was easier for whatever reason for the administration to write off. But I think there is a feeling that Tom Homan is going to be the adult in the room, that he's going to come and kind of right the ship a little bit, and that they needed to do something to show that they were hearing the criticism and complaint. At the same time, I don't know that I would expect a big change in the immigration policy. I don't know that they're going to stop doing these immigration raids. I think one person we haven't heard a lot from about any of this is Stephen Miller, which I find very interesting. But I think there is a sense that, Noem and Greg Bovino, it's just like, we have to get them out of there and show that the administration is doing something. But I don't know exactly what changes are going to happen on the ground in Minnesota, which I think is the question here.
Rick, you want to weigh in?
Yeah, I think Michael's exactly right. There's this idea they're going to change some of the characters in the play is, I think Miller and others are probably hoping that's going to settle this, and that Homan is more of a or less of a comic figure than Bovino is, in his little SS coat and all that, sort of strutting around. But I think there's a sort of weird incentive structure inside the administration right now, where this has given Trump a phenomenal number of his followers who are like, the tough guy Trump that they love is back, and they like the lib owning aspect of this, making people so angry and upset. So I wonder how, like, all these influencer types that have been pushing this out are going to do a 180, because that, as Michael talked about, as I've talked about, as other people are reporting today, including Jonathan Martin and Politico, there is the sense of anxiety. They don't want to tell Trump that they know how bad this is, but they want Trump to know how bad this is.
Meaning, how do they know?
Right.
Well, look, I know I talk TV as they normally do.
No, I talked to a Republican pollster today who told me this is catastrophic. That this is going to weigh on on the re-elections. This is going to hurt them even more. This is another week they're not talking about any kind of economic idea. It's another week that they're stuck playing defense, and campaigns have one thing you never get back, and that's a lost day.
So then also you have Michael, Senator Rand Paul announcing that he's going to hold ICE and DHS hearings. You have the Democrats. We can break it up. Let's do that, and then we'll do the Democrats after that. So what is this, Rand Paul on an island here, or other Republicans agreeing?
Rand Paul is often on an island, but I don't think he is in this particular case. Obviously, one of the more frequent critics of the Trump administration going back for years. But, he's been in charge of this committee, which oversees ICE and CBP for a while, and has not called a hearing, even as we see more controversial actions. So I think this really represents a clamoring from Senate Republicans to do something. It's not just him. Bill Cassidy was one of the first ones out. I think there are other people who have just said that we need to look into this. We need to figure out what's going on here. To not give too much credit to Senator Paul, he was beat by the House, who, Andrew Garbarino from Long Island, who is less of a frequent critic, called for one of these hearings already. But I just think this is representative of the sense that something is shifting here. And I think, to jump off something Rick said, one thing I would point out is Republicans usually want to be talking about immigration. I mean, this is an issue that voters have typically seen them as being very strong on. It was something that they felt really secure in 2022 and 2024. But the way that this is all unfolded at the beginning of the year is making them very uneasy on what's supposed to be one of their signature issues. And I think the hearings are supposed to represent a way for them to regain some of that ground.
And their numbers on immigration, their approval numbers on immigration, are always tied to Trump's. And Trump's numbers now on immigration are upside down. That was his best issue, and now it's collapsed to be a negative, not vastly negative, not as bad as the economy, but it is certainly now a negative issue for Trump. It's a boat anchor for these Republicans down the ballot.
If you guys will allow me, I just want to play one thing and get your responses really quick. I promise you it'll be fast, but I want to get this out. This is Sarah Longwell this morning.
And the reason that you were watching public opinion turn on this is for a few reasons. Number one, Democrats are finally finding their spine on this in a bigger way. Democrats have got to start going on offense on these things. The American people will be with you if you show leadership in this moment. We've already seen tonight Jackie Rosen, who's a swing state senator, call for the impeachment of Kristi Noem. Democrats should do this. I understand that in the past, people have felt like, oh, maybe this jumps the gun. Maybe it's too aggressive. No, it's not. Americans do not want to see police. I'm sorry, they're not police officers. Members of law enforcement, Border Patrol, covering their faces in masks, shooting Americans in the streets for exercising their First Amendment rights. I'm watching a lot of people on the right trying to make excuses, trying to say that you can't bring a gun. The fact is, this isn't going to wash in public opinion, especially if it keeps happening. And so I also want to reiterate, the people of Minnesota right now, they are doing the work that everybody needs to start doing, right? People need to find their voice in this moment. The business community, Republicans, speak up for what's happening in our country, okay? That's what time it is.
Okay, Rick, I'll let you go first. What do Democrats do? Is she right?
Yeah, look, stop the ICR. Even if it means they try to shut the government down, the Republicans will not shut it down. They will cave on this, and they should be forced to cave on this. And the second thing is, Democratic officials need to get out from Twitter and go to Minneapolis. Go stand in the street in front of ICE.
I love you.
Chuck Schumer, go stand in the goddamn street in front of ICE. And I know there are a lot of Democratic senators who will do this.
Yes.
But they need to do it at scale. Make ICE cave. Make ICE stand in front of a whole bunch of members of the Senate and the House as they walk down the street with these protesters, peacefully objecting to ICE's behavior and tactics. Make them cave, and they will.
Yeah. And I call on Republicans to do it as well. It would be a powerful moment. Michael Gold. So is that what should Democrats do, and what will they do? You're there. You know.
I'm not in the position of giving advice to Chuck Schumer for many reasons, but I will say I think it's very striking how quickly Senate Democrats came out against this after this shooting. I mean, I just don't think the will to do this was there at the beginning of the month. I really think something has shifted for them. Some of it is timing. It's just the fact that they're staring at a deadline on Friday. But I think you see it in statements from people like Patty Murray, who's the top Democrat on appropriations, who came out when Republicans and Democrats struck this deal for a spending bill and said, this is the best we can do right now, and we have to do something because we need to curb ICE, and if we don't pass this bill, then they'll just do whatever they want. And I think that was the party line heading into last week. Heading into this week, it seems to be like, this bill's not enough. We really need to do something. We really need to put our foot down. I don't know what that looks like exactly. Republicans seem to be very reluctant to split the Homeland Security bill away from the rest of these other bills that they have to pass. Anything could happen in the next few days. It's very funny. I don't think anyone thought we would be in partial shutdown territory in January. It really felt like everyone wanted to move past the last one. But I think the things that have happened have been so egregious. And I would point out, too, there were a group of House members, a pretty big group of House members, led by Ilhan Omar, but also Pramila Jayapal, who were in Minneapolis, I think either last weekend or the weekend before, who've been trying to go, who've been trying to make the point that people need to see what's going on here and people need to be present here. I don't know. Look, I mean, the reality of it is it's 7 Democrats, I think, that they need to pass this bill. It doesn't seem like the will is there right now. So I think the thing for them to do on the Hill right now, talk really seriously about what it is they want, what it is they need to see, what concessions they need to put in, what guardrails they need, what concessions they need from Republicans. The tricky thing is the Senate is here this week, but the House is not. So anything that the Senate decides is going to go back to the House, and we're going to have a little ping-ponging and back and forth. But I think one other aspect of this that I just want to point out that I don't think is being mentioned is, and I'm realizing I'm talking a lot here, but the so-called big beautiful bill gave this massive windfall of money to ICE. I mean, millions of dollars that they didn't have before.
Billions, I thought.
Billions of dollars, excuse me. Yeah, probably billions is more accurate in this case. But this is money they didn't have before, and it came with almost no guardrails. So I think there is a big desire from Democrats to say, who were cut out of that process, to use the position they have in the Senate to put guardrails on that money, to do the thing that they weren't able to do over the summer and say, we have to put our foot down. Enough is enough. And it'll be curious to see what that looks like.
Okay. I tried to get you guys off on time, but it was Michael. It wasn't me. Rick,
me.
Don't get mad.
It's all right. It's all
Michael
right.
Gold is a congressional reporter for the New York Times. And also Rick Wilson is a veteran political strategist, best-selling author, and the co-founder of the Lincoln Project. Thank you, gentlemen. I'll see you soon.
Thanks, Tom. We'll see you again.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Much, much more. Wait till you hear what I have to say after word from our sponsors. Support for this show today comes from Shopify. When I started the Don Lemon Show, everything hit at once. Scripts, cameras, branding, merch, logistics. The to-do list never stopped growing. That's why the right tool matters. For millions of businesses, that tool is Shopify. Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the US, from major brands to people just starting out. And we use Shopify right here on the Don Lemon Show to bring you the merch that you support and that you love. You don't need to be a designer. Shopify gives you clean, ready-to-go templates. You don't need a marketing team. Shopify helps with email and social campaigns. You don't need to be a logistics expert. Shopify handles inventory, shipping, and returns. And when you hear that cha-ching, a sale just happened. So if you're ready to sell, you're ready for Shopify. Start your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/lemon. Again, that's shopify.com/lemon. Support comes from Bio-Optimizers. Now, let me ask you something. Are you eating better? Going to bed earlier? Doing all the things and still waking up tired? I've been there. It's not normal. For a lot of people, it comes down to magnesium deficiency, and most supplements don't work because they use forms your body can't absorb. Magnesium Breakthrough is different. It uses 7 research-backed forms of magnesium plus a delivery system designed to get magnesium into your cells where it actually works. So the result is deeper sleep, calmer nerves, and better recovery. The kind of rest where you don't wake up already behind. So right now, during their New Year, New You event, you can get up to 35% off of select bundles. Go to biooptimizers.com/DonLemon and use the code DON15. That's BIOOPTIMIZERS.com/DonLemon. Start 2026 off rested, not burned out. Okay? And always check with your doctor. Thank you to our sponsors. So let me just say that Rick Wilson said something that I've been saying, and that is that the leaders need to be out there on the front lines with their constituents, showing that their support. And look, Rick and I are often on the same page on a lot of things. You know who is out there with the folks, and that's Ro Khanna. Take a look at this. Is it video or is it a video?
What are your thoughts on that? I think it's crossing a red line.
Well, they don't abide by the Fourth Amendment. They're going into people's houses and businesses and arresting people. They don't abide by the Second Amendment. They're assassinating Alex Pretti because he had a gun. That's a right under the Second Amendment. And they don't abide by the First Amendment. They're shooting people for engaging in the First Amendment right to peaceful protest. They are violating every aspect of our Bill of Rights. And that's, again, why I'm here in Minnesota, because the people here in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, are standing up for all of us. They're standing up for our Constitution. They're standing up for the First Amendment. They're standing up for the Second Amendment, for the Fourth Amendment, and they deserve the thanks. And I just want them to know from my colleagues how much appreciation we have for them, how much this nation is grateful to them.
Indeed. So.
And so that's one Democrat. This is what another Democrat is calling for. Eric Swalwell says, unmask the goons.
Americans asked the president to get rid of the most violent people in our community, and instead, the overwhelming majority of people who have been deported are not criminals. And so I would say that, what has to happen, to crush the ice that exists today is that the masks have come off. And, these guys, they don't just wear these masks for their own anonymity. They wear it for moral cover. And they hide their identities from us and their humanity from themselves. So that their masks have to come off, period. They have to focus on the most violent people in our communities. They have to identify themselves. They're terrorizing women right now. And if they don't do that, we're going to see the loss of another nurse named Pretti and a mom named Good.
And he's right. And sadly, I hope that, I wholeheartedly hope that he is not right. But I think it will get worse than that. As Rick Wilson said, what happens when they start firing indiscriminately into protests, into crowds? Or, if God forbid they do that, or if one of those masked goons gets killed, then all hell is going to break loose. Even the hell is already broken loose, but it will get worse, and it will be out of control, even more so than it is now. It will look a lot worse than this. ICE yelling, "You're all under arrest," to folks who are on the ground reporting and others. Watch.
Tito. Oh, I got it. Come on, get up. I'm getting.
What the fuck is
Come
wrong
on.
with you,
Just go. Go.
I can't breathe.
Okay, cover your face.
I'm pressed. Nick Valencia, independent media. Nick Valencia News. I'm independent media.
Get back! Tito. Oh, I got it.
Look at that.
Come on, get up. I'm getting it.
So that looks like this is a repeat, Andy.
Go.
Okay. That is, you can leave it up if you want, just silently or low. For what? Because you want to catch a few people who are undocumented, who you said you were going to go against the worst of the worst? This is not going against the worst of the worst. This looks like a war zone. This is all Donald Trump's and this administration's doing. They created this crisis, and they should be the ones that solve this crisis. It should not be like Donald Trump saying, "I had a great call with the governor and we came to a consensus about, and we want all the people, the bad people who they have locked up." This is not about that. This is about the Trump administration's lawlessness. This is about them not acting under the Constitution. This is about them being a dictatorship or an authoritarian regime. That's what this is about. And this has to stop. This should never be allowed on American streets. And if you were here earlier and you heard what Barack Obama said when those people were challenging him about deportations, he said, there are certain things that I can and cannot do, and I have to act within the bounds of the law and the bounds of the Constitution. I'm paraphrasing here. I cannot just do things like this, like what they are doing now. That's what a real president does. That's how a real president handles himself. Donald, what is in those fucking Epstein files? There must be some fucked up shit in those Epstein files. It's got to be fucked up. There's got to be some bad shit in there for him and them to do all of this. This is all a distraction from the Epstein files, a large part of it. And it is a crisis in its own making. He tried to do it when he put the first troops on the street in California. A distraction, right? It's all a distraction. What's in those files? Why won't they release them? He said release them, and now the Justice Department is not. Donald Trump, these people are incompetent. I know that you are incompetent too, but you are the leader, you are the president, you are the one ordering them to do this, and they are making you look worse. They are not helping the situation. You think Tom Homan is going to help? Tom Homan can't string a sentence together. Tom Homan just sitting in there is not going to help the situation. Y'all done fucked up, as they would say. You guys have fucked up. And it's really hard to put the genie back in the bottle. You're losing public sentiment, consensus on immigration. You're losing. How can you, Donald Trump, who wants to shut the border down, who ran on immigration, how can you be losing on immigration? You're losing on immigration because you have a group of buffoons out on the front lines. You have a group of buffoons who are trying to prosecute people. You have a group of buffoons who don't know what they are doing. Dumb and stupider, and heartless and heartlesser. I know that's bad grammar, but this has to stop. Your administration or your regime. I agree with. I had someone on earlier who said it's not an administration. And I kind of agree with that. It's your administration is inciting violence. You are creating angry people who want to go up against these people who are out on the streets. If someone is abusing your neighbors, your loved ones, your grandma, your sister, your uncle, your dad, your cousin, you're going to be mad. Just like it's the natural inclination for Alex Pretti to go and help that woman who someone pushed. That is a natural inclination of a good person. And a natural inclination of a good person, if you are abusing or hurting someone they love, they are going to fight back. That is the natural thing. So stop it. Get those goons out of there. Figure out another way. I know I'm asking too much, and it's not going to happen, but fire all of them. They're incompetent. They're embarrassing you in the media, over social media, which you care about. They're embarrassing you. That's all they did this week. And they went on the TV and they went on the social media and they said shit that people were like, what is wrong with these people? Why are they tweeting so much about all this stuff? Why aren't they out there trying to keep the peace? Why aren't they out there doing it? And I will again read, as I read in my earlier live, the very first words of the Constitution. And that is the preamble to the Constitution, that we are what the Constitution is about and people who are in charge of us, who are our leaders, are supposed to be doing. And that is what? Domestic tranquility. This is not domestic tranquility. This is not providing for the common defense. This is not promoting the general welfare. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Can we just do that? Can we just do that? I have so much to say. You guys know, check us out on the website. Make sure you vote for us for the NAACP Image Awards. Come see D.L. Hughley and I, the 2nd and 3rd at City Winery in New York. Get your tickets if you want to talk to us in person. And thank you for supporting us. Thank you so much for. I just want to thank some of the members. T. Baby Austin, thank you for your very generous support of independent media. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And all of the new members, become a member. Support this channel. We tell the truth. Memberships are reasonable. If you're a member, then you can gift memberships. And I want to thank the people who gifted memberships today. And so at a certain tier of our membership, you get a private stream and you get to be on. I'm going to a private stream now to continue this. So I will tell you, I'm so outraged. I'm so angry. I want you to be informed without being inundated. As a matter of fact, I want you to pray for me and pray for everybody, and pray for yourselves and pray for America. Be informed without being inundated. Until I see you back here at 10 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow morning here on the Don Lemon Show on the Don Lemon channel. And those of you I'm going to see in the private chat in just moments away, turn the TV off. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Your support means the world to us. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss a show. We're live every weekday at 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern time with new clips dropping at 2 p. and 8 p. And if you want even more Don Lemon Show content, join the Lemon community. Members get exclusive posts, behind-the-scenes videos, and live chats just for you. So hit the join button or visit our channel page to sign up. Thanks again for all your love and your support, and I'll see you next time.